If you want to make a change in your life, whether that might be eating healthier or being more active or more mindful, whatever that change might be, it is always that beginning phase that is the hardest part. In this video, we are going to talk about why that is. Hi guys, my name is Liz. I am a plant-based nutrition specialist, an epidemiologist and health coach, and I'm also a runner. So when I talk about doing something difficult, often the running analogy comes to mind for me. Actually, recently, I got a group of my family members to sign up to run a 5K with me. And some of those people are brand new to running. Some of them haven't run in a really long time. And so some of these family members are struggling a bit in preparing for this race. So it's been on my mind a lot lately when talking to them about their preparations for the race. I have been a long time runner, but I haven't run much recently. I had 2 injuries and had to heal from both of those before I could start running again and try to get myself back into my running form. But in spending so much time lately thinking about running and talking about it, I have begun to realize that it is infinitely more challenging to go from running nothing at all, like you're brand new, to running a 5K compared to going from running a 5K to running a marathon. I'm actually in the process of training for a marathon, and even though that is way more miles and there's a much bigger difference in mileage between a 5K and a marathon, I think that getting started and going from not running at all to that 5K is much harder. So why would that be harder? Well, in the beginning, when you are brand new, making this new change, in this case, running, you are not yet moving. You are dealing with a lot of friction that is keeping you in place. In this case, that might be that you are not physically conditioned for running. Your body is not used to it. I think that probably the biggest hurdle would actually be conditioning your mindset. When you just get started, running can be uncomfortable physically and mentally. You just want to go back home because sometimes it's really, really hard. And when you develop this runner's mindset, you start to realize that you are capable, that you can push through even though your legs might be tired or you are breathing heavily, but you keep on pushing through because you know that you are capable. It's when you are getting past that like 5K point and you're on your way to that marathon that to me, it is so much easier because at that point you are just rolling with the momentum. You might be increasing your mileage steadily, running much longer distances, and it is physically taxing, of course, but your mind and your body are already conditioned to believe that you can do that. When you keep pushing through that challenging phase where every time you run, it is difficult and you really don't feel like doing it, and you get to that point where these runs become easier, eventually it just kind of becomes part of you. And you convert from being someone who sometimes goes out for a run to actually thinking of yourself as a runner. In health coaching, we call that moving from being in the action phase, where all of the actions that you take, they require some effort and thought and a little bit of work to actually keep up with them. And then around that 6-month mark of doing whatever habit that might be, you shift into what's called the maintenance phase, where in the maintenance phase, it's exactly as it sounds. You are maintaining a habit, but it is a habit. It is something that you have now brought into your life and it is part of who you are. You don't have to work nearly as hard to actually sustain that. Don't think that this only applies to running because it applies to any change that you might be making in your life, whatever that might be. The good thing though is that having past success can make it easier for you to be successful in the future. For myself, when it comes to running, I didn't run practically at all last year because of those injuries. But there's this weird quirk in the runner's brain that Even though it's been a long time since I was running, I knew that I could still do it because I still had that voice inside of my head that said, you were able to do this before, you can do it again. If you're still struggling with that phase of just getting moving, here's another personal example from my life that might just help you a little bit. It was about 4 years ago that I walked the Camino de Santiago in Spain for the first time. It's an incredible trail, and there are some days where you're just climbing and climbing, and it seems like the hills and the mountains go on forever. And those days can be brutal. I had some days out on the trail where I would just see another hill when I was exhausted from walking all day and wanting to be done. And I would just think, me, another hill, another mountain. In those moments, I was losing sight of the beauty of that journey because I was so exhausted and so ready to be done. And it felt like the trail was just one long uphill battle. I might be a little bit superstitious, but while I was on the Camino, I had this thought that it seemed like whenever I would complain about there being another hill or mountain to climb, that there would be another one that was guaranteed to spring up in front of me further along the trail because I complained. So I adopted this habit where instead of complaining, I would say, that's good stuff, or this is really good stuff. It was my own way of saying, okay, I'm going to keep it inside that this is challenging and I'm going to try and speak positive words. I also, in those moments, would take a break, catch my breath, get a drink of water, and then I would just keep going, taking one step at a time, because that is the only way that you can get through it, taking one step at a time, just focusing on getting to around the next corner or to the top of the next hill. One thing that I have learned, being someone that also loves to hike and has hiked on some gorgeous trails, is that it's better not to focus too much on being too far ahead of yourself on that trail, but instead to take it step by step and to just concentrate on getting around the next corner or up to the top of the hill that is right in front of you. As a health coach, I really encourage my clients to look at whatever change, whatever challenge they are working through in order to reach that long-term goal that they have. I encourage them to look at it as a step-by-step process and to focus just on one thing, one small thing that they can do that will help get them closer to that long-term goal, but it is something that they can do right here and now. Sometimes those uphill battles can feel unending and like there is just one hill or one mountain to climb, one after another. But that is really where life gets good. Even if it may be difficult and it may be painful and challenging, it is an opportunity for you to build resilience and for you to prove to yourself that you know how to and you are capable of climbing. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.